All right. Hey, everybody. This is Alex and Freddy from Archons of Atlanta. And right now we've got Cav on the line. He's about to play in an adaptive Archon match against Logan. Both these guys are also on the Archons of Atlanta team. And we've just got Cav here to talk about his deck a little bit. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about this deck you've chosen to play, why you think it's good for adaptive, and what you hope to see it do.
Yeah, this is a really cool deck that I picked up back during the Coda days. It's an Italian deck that is based on Annihilation Ritual. So I think it's really fun for adaptive because I think sometimes people looked at Purge earlier in the game when we didn't have elements like Infernus, and we're maybe a little afraid to use it. So I found this deck because Annihilation Ritual allowed me to get rid of pieces from their deck, but then also, incidentally, if I lost some of my own creatures, I didn't really worry too much, and I'll tell you why in a second here. So first of all, we've got a fair game, which is also a pretty tricky element to use, as well as speed sigil. But really, the big payoff is even if I lose all my creatures, I've got a key charge as well as a fertility chance. So I just had ways to generate amber without creatures on the board, and I think if you don't realize that from the adaptive point of view, you're gonna get distracted with things like Witch of the Eye, and maybe the Ember Imp or the Guardian Demon, and the underlying strategy of the deck kind of push through without the opponent noticing. And then piloting it on the other side is, I think, a little hard as well. So
yeah, sure. It looks like you've got a lot of pieces that are kind of almost instant answers that if the opponent doesn't answer them, then they're in trouble. But at the same time, if they do get answered and you have Annihilation Ritual down, your creature's being purged, that's not such a huge deal for you.
Yep, that's the hope.
Cav, I want to ask, I know that we all briefly took a look at Logan's deck as well, and his deck, he's got a big Brobnar house there. Do you think that you'll play Annihilation Ritual, or do you think that it's a discard in this matchup?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility where if he gets his Brobnar out pretty early, I might wait on Annihilation Ritual until it gets reshuffled. But if I can get Annihilation Ritual out early, I don't think I mind doing that and forcing him to take out my creatures, and then trying my best to just push Amber through where I can. We'll see if that pays off. He's got a speed sigil as well. So this is going to be an interesting matchup, no matter, I think, how I end up playing it.
Yeah, well, it's definitely an interesting deck. I know I've played against this deck one or two times, and it's very tricky. It's got a lot of interesting decisions and plays, so we'll see how it goes. Best of luck to you.
Sounds good.
No problem.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we're here with Logan from Archons of Atlanta, about to play Cav in this adaptive matchup, here to talk about his deck. So why don't you go ahead and tell us why you picked it, what you like about the deck, what you're worried about, and anything else you want to say about it.
Yeah, so we've got Aesa, Fornaia del Colosseo Folle today. This is an Italian deck. I bought this deck a while ago, but definitely before Worlds Collide came out, maybe even before AOA came out. I can't really remember. Anyway, the reason I bought this deck was because I was playing a lot of decks in Coda that did a lot of capturing. And I thought, it's a really good opportunity to attack like these racing decks, capture their amber. But when I would do that, I found that it was as simple as them killing my creatures to immediately forage. And if I had no other way to benefit from the capturing all that amber, there was really no way to stop them if they just made a lot of amber. So the thing I like about this deck captures a ton of amber from so many different sources. Pile of Skulls, you've got old Brunos, you've got, Take Hostages, Honorable Claim, just so many ways to capture a lot of amber. And then it's got some really hard-hitting cards that punish that. The 2 Doorstep to Heavens are the big ones that stick out to me, and then the Too Much to Protect are a really good one too. So really that's to me the A-level strategy of this deck is to capture a lot of amber, and then when they take it back, you leave them with a ton of amber, and then you hit them with a Doorstep, you hit them with the Too Much to Protect to really punish them having a lot of amber. That was the reason I picked up this deck. Other than that, this deck just has a lot of solid cards, I think. It's got some really good Brobnar creatures to hold the board. Sanctum, it's got a lot of good Sanctum cards too to control the board. The doorsteps are really good on their own. You don't need the combination of capturing and all that. And the shadows is probably the house that lacks the most. I think the speed sigil is not very good in this deck. It can't really use the speed sigil very well. So that is one thing that I guess would concern me the most about this deck is, do I even play a speed sigil, right? A lot of the times I think I do, but I'm not sure that I do every time.
Yeah, I think one of the great things about this deck is, like you said, you have a lot of capture and a way to punish high amber counts. But you also have a lot of creatures. So if your opponent isn't able to answer the board, you can oftentimes just kind of reap to win. Especially with the Sigil Brotherhood in Sanctum, allowing you to play Sanctum off turn. You could have very powerful turns.
That's absolutely right. And one thing too is there's a lot of ways that reward fighting. You've got loot the bodies, the war chest, and pile of skulls too. So when you're fighting, you're not just, you're not taking that opportunity cost to not reap. You're also getting a little bit of benefit out of it. So that really is one way to reward having that big board. And again, like you said, just reap, right? You can just reap, and then if they race, they start to play actions that they gain a lot of amber. You still got doorstep. You still got too much to protect as backup.
Logan, let me ask, is there anything, I know you got a chance to look at Kevin's deck, is there anything in his deck that has you worried or that you think you'll have to play around that's at the top of your mind?
Yeah, maybe a few things. This deck doesn't have a lot of ways to quickly deal with Witch of the Eye outside of the speed sigil. So, and the anger too as well, I suppose. So hopefully I'll have a speed sigil down, so when those Witch of the Eyes come down, I'll be able to deal with them quickly. Other than that, the Arise is a good way for him to take back the board after he's lost it. Looks like he's got a lot of really good creatures and discs, so that could be hurtful. And then the Snick Lifter is something. This deck has like Pile of Skulls. I think is probably the key artifact that I want to keep, that he probably wants to take from me. So if he can get my Pile of Skulls with the Snick Lifter, that would be optimal for him.
True.
Other than that, there's not a whole lot that I'm worried about. It's a solid deck, right? So we're still playing a good game of Keyforge, but there's not a whole lot that sticks out to me that I need to play around.
All right, sounds good. Well, best of luck to you, and let's get this first game started.
All right, thank you.
So I think Kevin's deck might have a slight edge here. What it's really going to come down to is the board state. If Logan can really establish that Brobnar board early and use them to fight, maybe keep them healed up with a cleansing wave or what have you to make sure that he gets a lot of value from his board, that will be great. If he can't do that, then Kevin gets a speed sigil down and he gets to use a Snudge or a Witch of the Eye immediately, or stick a Dusk Runner on a Shadows creature and reap immediately. Something like that is just going to be pretty devastating. And I think that if Kevin can get that Witch of the Eye down and pull back a Fertility Chant or a Key Charge, that could be bad. So Logan really has to command that board early and quickly to have a shot in this one. What are your thoughts?
I think I agree. I think if Cav's deck somehow does get down to the point where it's purged, or both decks are purged, like down to their actions, that like Logan's deck does have better actions because it has the double doorstep, the miasma too much, and stuff like that. But at the same time, like you said, if the board isn't in that state, then I think Cav's deck has a lot of plays. Like you said, the Speed Sigil into Fertility Chant, which is the Eye Fertility Chant, that's 8 amber. So like that's crazy efficient. I mean, you're giving your opponent 4, which sucks. But at the same time, it's quite a bit. And
going up to 8, and I don't think Kevin has anything that can punish going big.
No, it doesn't look like he does. He's got 2 Old Brunos to capture and stall, a Finishing Blow, Nerve Blast, Relentless Whispers, and then it looks like Rivi. Other than that, it's Carlo and a couple of artifacts. And it looks like we're having some issues.
Okay, so looking at these hands, it looks, well,
So Logan took a mulligan. He had he initially had an opening hand of like Doorstep and Cleansing Wave and Miasma. So obvious mulligan for Logan. He opens up with a turn 1 Pile of Skulls. Be interesting to see. That card can be huge in this matchup.
yeah, it's, oh, and Kevin's forced to take a suboptimal Shadows turn with the Nerve Blast, but that's okay. And the Carlo Phantom. But, you know, he's going through cards. Logan, I think they're both off to a bit of an awkward start. You know, Logan put the Pile of Skulls out, but he doesn't have a real follow-up. And the issue here, Alex, as you pointed out, is that whenever Cav gets that Sneck Lifter, that Pile of Skulls is going to be gone.
And he takes another sort of awkward Shadows turn. He has to discard the Magda, play out an Old Bruno that does nothing, and play a Naughty.
Yep, and then he gets hit with the Subtle Maul. Well, Cleansing Wave. Cleansing Wave is actually pretty okay here to lose. I think that's actually good in this case, because if Logan goes Brobnar, for instance, it means he's drawing one more card next turn that he wouldn't draw otherwise.
Logan doesn't really have any good options here, I think. He's got Doorstep and Honorable, which are both bad in this situation. Coward's End, Loot the Bodies, gets him a couple Amber, but it gets rid of his Naughty and Old Bruno. That's probably what he does anyway.
Yeah. To me, that's his best play. Doorstep's probably not going to hit whenever he does
he
play
chooses
it.
to go Shadows instead. He's using the board and going to play out the Miasma, I presume. So going to 3. And hoping that...
It's not
not a bad play. It's still using 3 cards, 2 on board, 1 in hand, versus...
Yep, and now it means that if Cav plays out his hand more, that Cowards and Loot the Bodies combo is going to hit for even more. So, yep, he'll get 1 extra for the Niffle-Ape. He'll have a little more board control, and it hurts less because he's about to lose the Naughty anyways.
Yep, and now the Cowards and Loot the Bodies is very good. And he'll capture that Amber onto Old Bruno.
No, he's going to lose the Old Bruno.
It's damage now from the cooperative.
Oh, you're right. You're totally right. Huh.
So he just gained 3, captured 2. That's a pretty wild swing. Went up to 6, brought Cav to 0, and killed Cav's board.
That's worth the 3 chains.
Cav's 100% going Dis here. He's got the Annihilation Ritual. The question is, does he play it now? And he can take him off check because he's got the Shore.
Tough question.
He does play it. I think Logan's board state is not so overwhelming that it's... I think that's probably the right call. It's a good time to play it. And maybe he Dance of Dooms for 5 instead of 3. That way if Bruno, if he wants to get rid of the Ember Imp, Bruno has to trade.
That's an interesting thought. And it'll be interesting now to see. Okay. Yep, does go to Bruno. Just goes big on Ember.
Logan did just go Brobnar, so it's definitely a reasonable play.
Yep. Oh, and he holds Hand of Dis.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
I don't know that I would have held on to that, but with Annihilation Ritual out, just a free kill is more valuable. But
it's true.
Still don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah, it's tough. At the end of the day, I think I would have just tossed it, but you know, like we said, the way Logan wins is through the board, so having more board control is not the worst option. Now what's going to hurt is when Cav goes Dis here, and he still has this Hand of Dis. that he's gonna have to decide, do I want to hold it
Right,
or
do I
not?
want to hold it again? Give myself essentially
Right.
2 chains.
Yeah.
I presume he is going to go dis. It's playing out 3 cards and using 2 creatures on
You got
board.
that's yeah. Definitely to me looks like the best option.
I guess he could arise for shadows.
I'm wondering if he's trying to figure out what to arise. I think that, or if he should
Yeah,
arise. I think that you pull back shadows. Carlo and Old Bruno, I think, is worth the chain, but
Yeah, I think it's worth 1 chain. The only thing is with Logan about to forge and him not being able to stop it, the Old Bruno is unlikely to hit very hard. But it's a body. It's a body that you can reap with.
right.
The only thing is now with Annihilation Ritual down, this time when those creatures get killed, they will stay dead. So is it worth keeping them for the reshuffle? Probably not. I wouldn't try to play that long game. I would take them back here, and he does. I think that's the right call.
And he does. Yep. And okay. And now he discards the hand.
Yeah, and if he hadn't there, he wouldn't have even lost that 1 chain that he got. So I think definitely had to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
But Logan is able to keep him off key by fighting the Ember Imp because of Pile of Skulls. And gets an Amber from Headhunter's effect. So, pretty good. Semi-decent turn there.
Yeah, he definitely has put himself in a strong position here. Up a key, got a little bit of amber. Cav will get to capture it with the Old Bruno, but I think at this point that's just stalling.
Right. And
he does build up a little bit of a board, so now I think there will be a little more back and forth, and the question becomes, does Logan manage to draw into something that will let him take back control of the board?
And Subtle Maul was used to discard Subtle Maul, which is always funny when that happens.
How appropriate.
Yeah, I think Fire Spitter just fights into something. Clears out Carlo. Captures some more amber.
Yep.
And now Cavs Save the Pack is not good.
No, but I think still worth playing here to clean up the board, get 3 amber back. You're not putting the opponent at check yourself, even if you play Fertility Chance.
Right, which he probably will. 1 doorstep's already been discarded.
Yeah.
Well, is he scared of the too much?
There isn't too much to protect.
Logan doesn't have it, but no way for Cav to know that, obviously.
Right. Yep. He's in a little bit of a tough spot here.
He does play it.
So we do see Save the Pack. What the other question is, what does he mimicry now?
That is a good question. He
could have gone for Cleansing Wave, but he probably doesn't want to do that.
He also could have gone Loot the Bodies and gained 2 for killing the Brobnar guys. But that's...
Yeah, he's going big on Amber, so he's hoping that Logan doesn't have the answer, and fortunately for him,
maybe he might hold Mimicry here, because if Logan too much to protects, then yeah, okay. Because if Logan plays it, then he can Mimicry it.
He just takes him back.
I think that's a good call. Fortunately, Logan does not have it, so that's essentially another chain, but still, I think that's a heads-up play. And he can still doorstep here, because Logan just went to 9.
Yep.
And there's nothing on the board to kill off Witch of the Eye.
No, there isn't. So now the question is, how does Cap want to play this? I think doorstep is, yep. There it is. So, yeah, just like that, Cav manages to take a real firm control of this game, threatening that second key. Does Logan even have an answer here?
He
I don't
can
think
he can
does.
speed sigil Nexus to
No, he has
fight,
bumpy.
which I don't know if that's the right call.
That feels real bad. And if he does that, it doesn't. Nexus would die.
Nexus would definitely
so
die.
He wouldn't even be able to take Cavan off of check. So the only way Cav doesn't forge, is if he gets that Bumpsy down. But now, Witch of the Eye's about to hit, and he's about to get another Witch of the Eye played out.
There's the too much. Logan just drew it, so it'll be interesting to see what Cav gets back here with Witch of the Eye. He's got I don't know actually.
A lot of tough choices.
Good options.
Does he? I could even see a world where he pulls the mimicry back and just holds it. I don't think that that's the play, but he's in the driver's seat a little bit right now.
Yeah, Logan's building that board back up. He chooses to reap with Snufflegator. Interesting. He does bring back Mimicry. Does he play it?
Let's see what I think you gotta just play it out because
interesting. I respect it. I like that play.
I don't hate the decision. He takes the chains, but he's got a good solid Shadows follow-up turn between the old Bruno and the Subtle Maul. Also just getting Skeleton Key down to give him that little bit extra Amber. Logan's got to worry about this Witch of the Eye in the meantime. Too much to protect isn't really going to do a whole lot here. It'll give him 1 Amber.
Yeah, it'll get Logan 2 check. I think I think he still had to go Shadows. He had 4 cards. Plays down the Speed Sigil.
Yeah, definitely.
Does Nexus fight or does Nexus reap? Okay, Nexus trades. I think that's the right call.
I think so. But man, now Cavan gets to play Snud with a Speed Sigil. That's
I think he'll go Bruno because Bruno takes.
I think so, but just whenever he wants to play that Snud, he's got the option to bounce something.
Yes, that could be critical to this matchup. Subtle Maul doesn't hit the doorstep, thankfully for Logan, but this Bruno play is going to be brutal.
Yeah. Speed Sigil with the Dusk Runner to give him an extra steal. Now he's got Key Charge.
Gonna hold on to doorstep.
Yeah. Holding on to doorstep. I think that's the right call here. Logan's he's gotta play hoping that he can keep control.
But now Cav can just go Shadows again if he wants to. I don't think he will, but he could just go Shadows and steal with Dusk Runner to keep him off check. Now, he can do that in Dis as well because he has a Dominator Bauble out. So Logan won't be forging this turn either. So that's the problem with holding the doorstep there, because that would have been 1 extra Amber.
Right. It would have forced Cav to go Shadows because he would have had Skeleton Key old Bruno with Dusk Runner, but yeah, you're right. This way he can go. Oof, boy, he can go this, bounce that Raiding Knight back up. At least Logan has the doorstep now to stall, but it's only going to buy him 1 turn.
And he's not going to be able to build that board big enough. Even with the doorstep, Cav's going to Flaxia, Reap, Key Charge.
Yep. Yeah. So this game is effectively over. Let's see. He'll go down to 4.
Raiding Knight will capture
Yeah.
1. But
Oh, you know what? He can no if he plays out, Flaxia won't hit. Flaxia won't hit for 2. Because he'll have the 3 Sanctum creatures, assuming that he kills off the old Bruno. It'll be 3 creatures to 3.
well, he couldn't kill the Bruno, right? Because elusive, but he could fight the Snudge.
No, he'll have Speed Sigil.
Oh, Sergeant
so he can play
Zakiel,
down
yes.
Anafiel, and then use Zakiel to fight
Yes,
a
you're
second
right.
time.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yep. Yeah. So that's
That
man.
is absolutely the play.
And he should. Oh no, I always mix up Anafiel with Frankus. I was thinking he should capture one there, but well, he does.
Oh yeah, that's
right.
even better.
Okay, so wow, Logan had even more room to breathe than we thought. The question is, can he stall for 2 turns? Because he's still not at check.
Right.
And so, I think here you just go Dis. I mean, reaping twice, bouncing the Raiding Knight back.
Yeah, I think you try to get good value. Yeah, so I think Dis is the right call here.
Now, Logan has some good answers to whatever Cavan does. He's not out of this by any means because he's got an Umbra with Speed Sigil, and then he can play a Magda and put Shadow Self next to it. So he'll steal that too, and he doesn't have to worry about losing it right away.
That's a good call.
So this game actually, man, it looked like it was over for a second, but just that Speed Sigil actually ended up being huge for Logan because that Anafiel being able to fight twice between the Speed Sigil and the Zakiel just really
yeah, the Speed Sigil, Speed Sigil with
right
Pile
now.
of Skulls, just allowing him to capture that Amber. And next turn, along with whatever house Logan calls, he's also going to be able to go Sanctum. Because he's going to sacrifice Sigil.
Yes.
So he's going to have a very strong turn the next time he's up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Cavan has to decide, well, I think he has a good play here because he can use the Guardian Demon actually to move damage onto the Dust Imp.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I think...
But no, actually he can't. He can't because he has to play the Guardian Demon first.
Yeah, but
so he can't
it'll come in ready though, so he can move it to something and then move it again if he reaps with it. So you could play the Guardian Demon ready, then play the Dust Imp, and then move it.
You're right. That's a good point.
He does bounce the Raiding Knight.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. You don't want to give the Zakiel's play effect.
I wonder if he trades with an Anafiel here. Just because the Sigil is out. No, he reaps. And plays the Dust Imp ready.
It doesn't actually matter, I guess.
He should have reaped with Dust Imp before playing the Demon, Guardian Demon.
Yeah. I think he was...
Oh, he's choosing not to go super large with the Dust Imp. He's just building his board. Oh, he still wants to Flaxia key charge. He wants to have as many creatures out as possible, I think.
Yep, I think you're right. And, he's going to be able to just barely do it unless, well, this is going to be tough for Logan. And I don't know which direction he goes with this, but I think he needs to use the Sigil to fight as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then play out the shadows. And it's, man, if Logan does this right, he'll be okay because he'll capture because of Pile of Skulls. He'll keep Cavan down in terms of the number of creatures he has on the board, so the Flaxia won't hit. but he's gotta play this just right. And it's hard when he can't see the hands like we can, to know
Right. And
which
they're
way to do
each
this.
about only halfway through their deck, so they're each thinking, does the opponent have that answer? Do they have that card that's going to prevent me from, playing out to my strategy? Because halfway through the deck, you never know.
Yeah. So, all right. Yep. I think that was a great call. And now he can just reap with the Anafiel if he wants. That's actually what I would do here. Um, and that will seal the game. If he doesn't reap, then you've got Skeleton Key Relentless Whispers to keep you in the game if you're Kevin.
Right.
Although even that really just a stalling tactic because Logan just goes big
And he
on
does reap.
on the next turn, I think.
So does Cav have an out here? I don't believe he does, especially not in Untamed. So I think
No.
I think he knows the writing's on the wall here.
Yep.
Well, wait, Dew Fairy comes in ready though. Oh, but no, he needs one more creature.
Yep. Yeah, if he had one more creature, he'd be able to do it.
And Cav gives the
Boy.
GG.
What a game. What a game.
That was kind of crazy. A lot of back and forth plays there.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. They were, man, that pile of skulls, that's what did
and
it.
Cav didn't see the Snecklifter in the bottom half of the deck. Did we see Cav's error? We'll get him in here and let him talk about it.
I'm not sure. If he'd killed the Dust Imp, though, that he would have been able to win.
That's probably what he's talking about.
Because he'd be at 5
where
now.
he played the Dust Imp and then didn't reap without, and then played the Guardian Demon without reaping, I mean.
Yeah. Yep. 3 more Amber. That would have done it.
All right.
Boy.
Well.
All right. Well, let's bring one of them in, and I guess we'll talk to Kevin first.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So, Kevin, thanks for joining us. Walk us through there. You know, the last couple turns, especially. What was going through your mind? How were you thinking about the game? What were you worried about? What were you playing to?
Yeah, this was a really cool game coming up to the end when the decisions really needed to get really clear, and the window of opportunity was slimming down basically every turn. I was not playing around the doorsteps. I knew that he was just going to throw them out as soon as I got to a high enough Amber count, so no point in overthinking that. For me, I was trying to set up a good key charge play, and the way I was thinking about it was, all right, let me use my disc creatures to really get as much Amber value out of them as possible. And so I had this really awesome idea where I would put my Dust Imp out, reap with it for 1, put out the Guardian Demon, take off 2 damage from champion Anafiel, and shoot my own Dust Imp, basically, gaining 3 total, but then losing 1 to pile of skulls, but then you would at least just have 2 extra Amber to work with. I realized that if I had a Flaxia and a Dew Fairy and I could just keep pushing out creatures, I could use that as my Keyforge opportunity. And I just went a little too fast and kind of missed that opportunity and figured, all right, let's not dwell on the past, let's keep pushing through. And by that time, Logan set up a really nice board and was able to force me to make some suboptimal decisions.
Yeah, we both saw the Dust Imp Guardian Demon play. We wondered if that was what you had intended to do, or if perhaps you were just trying to keep as many creatures on the board as possible so you could guarantee hit the Flaxia. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, that was the second option, right? Once the first plan was clearly messed up, it was like, all right, well, let's just go for the Flaxia play. There was maybe a reason for me to have snudged back the pile of skulls instead of a creature, just so it gets me some sort of similar effect. And I thought about that for a while, as you probably saw. I kind of sat there for a minute, just looking at the screen. Chose one way, ended up not being the right way. Happened.
Yeah, well, it was a very close game. Honestly, I was surprised at how back and forth it was. I thought that it would either be Logan establishes board control and pulls away at the beginning, or you just pump out the keys too quickly. But it was right on the edge between the two, I think. How do you feel about this deck and the matchup going into game two?
I think it's got a pretty good matchup. I think I made some decisions on there that Logan might not immediately make. So, figuring out what to rise and how to chain myself in order to get rid of the board. Those are things that, when you get used to Annihilation Ritual, you realize the value of such a thing. He might make slightly different decisions, and it might make the deck a little clunkier. I'm hoping that's the case. Looking at his deck, it seems like you want to get a good board set up and then just kind of get some synergies going. So hopefully I can pull out a win using his deck and send it to game 3.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you
Good
after
luck in
the
the
next
next
game.
one.
Logan, thanks for joining us. Congrats on your win.
Thank you.
It was a little touch and go there at the end, but you managed to navigate your deck beautifully. Why don't you take us through how you were thinking about those last couple turns and what you saw?
Yeah, so it was really swingy those last couple of turns. After he wiped the board with that mimicry and placed a Witch of the Eye down, I thought I was in pretty big trouble. But just being able to keep him barely off check with Pile of Skulls was so huge. Like I said before the game, I think Pile of Skulls is a really important card in this deck. Because you want to be fighting so much, right? They play their important threats and you want to fight them. You want to punish them when you fight. So Pile of Skulls, MVP toward the end there. And then just being able to steal so much with those Shadows cards was really important.
Yeah, the Magda behind the Shadow Self is particularly brutal. It's just hard to answer, and sticking it next to an Anafiel just makes it even worse.
Yeah, it was kind of protected on 2 axes there, so it's really hard to deal with.
Well, Logan, how do you feel about this deck moving forward? Do you feel like Cavin's going to have a leg up in game 2, or do you think that you might be able to pilot his deck to a win to take it 2-0?
Yeah, I think these decks are really closely matched, really closely matched, actually. And you saw that in the game. It was so down to the wire. So honestly, it's a toss-up to me who wins this one. I think if I had to choose, I would choose my deck. I think it's got a little bit more raw power. During that game, we saw some pretty awkward draws to start the game off. I had a few turns where I just played like one card, fought with a Brobnar creature, and passed. Right, I kind of didn't really draw in the right order this deck wants to. There was a turn, I think, when Cav went up to like 10 Amber, and there was so many ways to punish him in my deck. I just didn't see any of them, though, unfortunately. So that all being said, I do think the deck I brought is slightly more favored, but it's anybody's game, honestly.
Yeah, it's a very similar like power level decks with 2 very good pilots, so it's really going to come down to who gets the right cards at the right time and who pilots the deck better. So
yeah, I absolutely agree.
All right, well, I'm excited to see what hands out in this next game. Logan, best of luck to you, and we'll see you after game 2.
All right, thanks, guys.
Man, right out of the gate, Cav with the huge, just absurd Brobnar play to start. Yeah, and he plays the Secret Needle, and now he can just, he gets to play 4 cards next turn. That's gonna be
Logan's
gross.
following out with a Full Moon Flaxia, Witch of the Eye, Nifflewape. Talk about gross.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true, Logan. They both had incredible starts to their turns. Oh, and now he gets to throw down 5 Shadows creatures. This is going to be fireworks just off the bat. The Fire Spitter, he can anger into the Witch, smash, lets him stun something, or he could gain one with Headhunter if he wants to go that route. Really, just so many different choices here.
Yeah, definitely quite a few options.
But
yeah, I don't think there was no bad call for the fire spitter. Getting the little bit of damage on everybody can pay off later on if the fire spitter fights a couple more times, which it might now because the Carlo's out.
And not to mention if Cav can hit a cleansing wave, that could be huge as
Right,
well.
that's a good call.
There's so much amber to be had there.
Logan's having another 5-card Shadows turn, or another 5-card turn, this time in Shadows.
And then, oh man, and he's got 4 discards to follow up next turn, so it's just one thing after
Yeah, that's
another.
the thing with these 5-card turns, just lead into more of them, just of the other houses. It's pretty crazy sometimes.
Yep. Well, of course we say that, but now Cavan has a 5-card Sanctum turn of his own. I think he's going to regret putting the Naughty on that side. He can't get to the Headhunter with Ezekiel. Just a very small mistake there, but I think that's what happens when you're piloting a deck that you're not used to. You miss the little things like that.
Yeah, definitely leaving either the Headhunter or the Fire Spitter. Well, Fire Spitter's dead, but leaving either of those on the flank for the Ezekiel could be a pretty good play. But, well, now he is able to do it.
All right. Boy.
So,
you know, this is really impressive. Just the amount of kind of big plays back and forth, and somehow at the end of it, they're both just sort of, I think, gonna be in pretty similar positions. You know, Logan certainly has the amber lead. He's got 5 and then 3 more on Bruno. And I guess he'll have a little bit more captured between the take hostages with Ezekiel and the raiding knight, but even so, it's really anyone's game at this point, and I think they've both done a great job of just keeping the other one in check.
Yeah, they're both off to a pretty good start here. Now, Captured Amber is what this deck that Cav's playing wants to do, because now he did just draw into the too much, so if that Captured Amber does go back to Logan, he can steal quite a bit of it, if it all goes at once.
Yep, and he can fight the old Bruno into something to make sure that he gets even more of that amber back. So it's a very good point, and there's a lot of scary ways that Cav can really make Logan pay.
And he is starting to build up that board now.
Hold on to his amber.
Yep, Logan goes Dis. I think he had to. He's got a 5-card Dis turn. He's probably going to Arise for Shadows, like we saw last game, for a Carlo and a Dodger. I don't think it's worth Arising for a single Witch. Unless you know you're going Untamed next turn, which maybe is a possibility.
And he puts 1 damage on old Bruno. That's interesting, because he could have killed off the Headhunter. He could have killed off his Dust Imp if he wanted to go that way.
Was there only one that was able to move?
Yes, but armor doesn't prevent the damage.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, it does. This is different. I thought that this one moved the damage, so never mind. That's why he put it on the old Bruno. I need to learn how the
No, you're
cards
good.
work.
It's a little confusing, especially with the wording sometimes.
Yep. Yep. I forget which card it is, but there's another one that actually moves the damage instead of dealing the damage. The difference being that if you move damage, it completely bypasses armor. That's what I thought.
That might be the Mars card.
But if you deal the damage,
Entropic Manipulator, maybe.
yes. Yeah, that's right.
So he's gonna Speed Sigil Mass Asp into Ember Imp. Yeah.
Yep.
I would imagine he holds too much to protect here.
I think so. I think that this is a time when you do hold it, because when you play it, you know, with that old Bruno being down, there's just such a great opportunity for you to potentially just steal for that much
Yeah.
more. The player gets that 3 back, and then you steal. That too much protect can really start to hurt. So Cav goes up to check. He's put the pressure on Logan to find an answer, and Logan he does have an answer here in Shadows. He can play the old Bruno. He's also got Mimicry in his hand, so he could Miasma, he could play Doorstep, he could play Take Hostages. Any of
Right.
those really would work here. I guess he doesn't have a great turn if he
Just
the Mimicry actually wouldn't work on Take Hostages, but that would be my last pick
decides to go
anyways. I don't think
Dis.
there's a
He's
good...
gonna Dom Bob the old Bruno.
Oh, you're right. He even had an answer in this. That's a great point.
Cheeky little thing here that I would have done last turn if I were Cav. He Seeker Needled Logan's old Bruno. I may have considered doing it to dust him, so that when I do run my old Bruno into something to give him back 3, can also Seeker Needle the dust him to give them 2 extra and then too much to protect.
Ooh, that is tricky, but I like it.
Kind
I like it a
of
lot.
showing your hand a little bit if you do that. Kind of indicating that you've got it in hand.
Certainly.
But so maybe not the right call. Now we're seeing
Either way,
Logan build up a very large board here.
wow. We are, and Cav's got some answers in hand. He's got the too much to protect, and that's gonna hit for a lot here. Logan really went big on Amber there, maybe too big, to be honest. I think maybe he could have fought more instead of reaping so much. It's a tough call, but really the only question here is who does the Masus ask to kill? I think, because other than that,
Yeah,
there's just so much that Cav can do
I
on this
think
turn.
Asp here. Well, I think it's got to kill Guardian Demon or Steward. It's Guardian Demon or Steward of Souls, right? Or you double fight, into the Bruno. But that's not great.
I think you run your Bruno into their Dust Imp, just take 2 more from them,
Oh yeah,
and then you use the Ask to kill something else.
that's a good call. He's deciding to go Sanctum. He's gonna doorstep here instead of too much to protect.
That's an interesting
I would have done.
call.
I definitely would have done the opposite there. I would have too much used my guys on board, and then if he has the mimicry, which he does, then you have the doorstep to answer it.
Yeah, it looks like, I think because doing that would have meant that Logan forged. This way he gets to get value from both cards. I think that's the rationale behind this.
Sure.
But it's a tough call to do that.
Okay, so now he's protecting the Bruno. And now he has too much and Magda, so it may end up paying off after all. Because now he can take him off check.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and he's got a great cleansing wave to play at some point.
Yes, he does, because he's got Fire Spitter in hand and Speed Sigil down.
This could get ugly. Logan's really got to navigate this carefully. So he's got Snack Lifter. Unfortunately, there's no pile of skulls out. So, I could see stealing Subtle Maul turning out pretty well because Logan's got one of his own. Double Subtle Maul is pretty brutal. But at this point, it's really a question of does it even matter? Logan's really needs to keep building out that board quickly if he wants to keep this close. He can stall with old Bruno for a turn. That's good. He's got Skeleton Key to capture even a little more Amber, but he's really got to keep the pressure up if he wants to be able to to win this
He
game.
decides to go Dis, just because Sure steals one. I think I may have gone Untamed there. Witch of the Eye Mimicry, both in hand with Cooperative Hunting, could have taken complete control of the board. But
Yeah.
I see the logic going Dis. He's got 3 ready creatures plus Dominator Bauble. I don't think it's there were no bad options there. I think even the Shadow's turn, Bruno with Snecklifter to steal one of the artifacts would have been good as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not a bad way to go. And to your point, a lot of really good options. Really, the issue here is that he's going to play right into this too much to protect.
Yeah.
And then, oof.
Yeah, going big again.
Um,
Up to 10. I think Cav's got to go Shadows here.
Yeah, you fight the old Bruno into the Dust Imp, and you steal, what, 9?
Right.
And then you do 2 more with
And then-
Magda.
And you hope that you Subtle Maul.
Just
Hope that he Subtle Mauls the Mimicry. But even if he does, Witch of the Eye gets it back.
Yeah. So I mean, he can't know that he's playing into that. But you're right. You're right that actually, at the end of this, Logan's going to be in a great spot because he can Cooperative Hunting to get rid of the Magda as well. So he's going to steal so much right back.
Yeah. Kind of like the first game. Oh, he got the Witch of the Eye. That's brutal.
It is, but you still
get the mimicry, but that still hurts quite a bit.
Yep. Definitely not the card you wanted to have knocked out of your hand.
He's still gonna have a great turn, especially if Cav decides to reap with these 2 Shadows creatures he's got out, which I don't know what else he would do.
Certainly he wouldn't fight with the Magda. It's interesting to me that he didn't fight the old Bruno into the Dust Imp. He didn't go for the huge Amber play. I guess he's playing around the Mimicry, which is really smart.
He fought the Niffleape. Interesting.
Okay.
Niffleape was actually pretty good in that situation because it ignores taunt. So it could have fought the Bruno, but that's another reason I would have gone Untamed the previous turn for Logan, just because it would have gotten past the Anafiel. But putting damage on the Magda is not ideal.
No, it's not. And now this Cooperative Hunting is really gonna hit for a lot. Flock to your reaps.
Yeah, Cooperative's gonna kill both the Bruno and the Magda.
Yep, and with both Doorsteps and Too Much to Protect all in the discard, you don't have to worry about going up to these huge Amber plays. So now it's Cav who's on the back foot. Logan's got the board, he's got the Amber pressure.
Cav's got to run through the deck as fast as he can and try to find that pile of skulls. That's basically his Amber control now.
Yep. And Key Charge in Logan's hand, Cavan has to know that that's going to hit soon. So Logan's about to have a 2-key to nothing lead. Gets the Fire Spitter out, takes control of the board again, but at this point, is it going to be enough?
I think it'll depend what he draws right here. He doesn't get it. And even if he did, Logan's got the Snecklifter.
Honorable Claim helps a little bit. Cleansing Wave is nice. Loot the Bodies could lead to a big play, but really, it's Logan. Logan is still, I think, in a great spot. He can Snecklifter the War Chest now, which just means that your Brobnar turns are that much worse than they would be otherwise.
Yeah, and I think he probably does play out the Shadows here.
I think so. You just keep Cavan off of keys as much as possible. I mean, between the Skeleton Key and old Bruno, keep Cavan at 0 Amber, no keys.
Yeah.
That's a lot to fight back
Yeah, the
from.
honorable claim's not going to capture much. Only one knight out, one in hand. Getting down the sigil is pretty good.
Yep.
But I think take hostages, yes, it was already played. So won't be able to capture from that. So I think it's really just pile of skulls that's left.
Yep. He's got the Umbra, which with the speed sigil means you steal one, but again, it's just too little too late.
Yeah, he has a miasma in there, but that's really only going to stall. Cav's only at 4 amber, 0 keys, whereas Logan's about to play his second, and Cav's about to be at 0 amber, 0 keys, so even more brutal.
Yeah, and his miasma is in this card, so I don't think that he'll even be able to get to it before Logan puts
You're
the
right,
pressure
I missed
on.
that.
He takes the Seeker Needle? Okay. Ah, clever, so he can kill off the Dust Imp. Yeah, and Logan knows there's nothing that's going to punish him
And
for
he's-
bursting, so he just goes as big on Amber as
And
he
he draws
possibly
into
can.
Fertility Chant with Key Charge.
So that's
That's
this is
That's
gonna be
GG,
gross.
right?
Forge and then
Yeah.
2 cards to win. Man.
interesting. Definitely not as close as
Alright.
that first game.
Not remotely, and it's really wild to see the disparity here. You know, this is what we had said before the first game, where Logan's deck it really needs to build out that board and keep control of the board early on, because otherwise Visconte Cavan's deck can just start doing all these shenanigans, really make life miserable, and you're seeing the result of that
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. He fights the old Bruno to get back some of his amber. Okay, so he is going pretty big here.
Yeah, it's just not gonna matter
But
though.
still, Fertility Chant into Key Charge still takes it.
Yep. Nothing you can do to stop that. And there it is. Logan takes it 2-0.
That's pretty wild.
All right, let's bring them both back in and see what they've got to say.
All right, so we're here after
Right.
game 2 with Logan, the 2-0 winner of this adaptive match, so we will not be bidding chains. Logan, that game was very different than the first one. What do you think kind of caused that disparity there? Walk us through your thoughts.
It was a really fortunate draw for me. I started the game off with probably one of the best untamed turns you could have, and then I continued to just play like 5-4 cards a turn. So I think from the beginning, Cav was kind of on the back foot. He stabilized really well. I think he got to the point where neither of us were forging keys for a long, long time. But he used both of his doorsteps, and then all I had to play around was the too much to protect. And I let him get a really big too much to protect on me, and then I had the mimicry to answer it immediately. And I think from there, I just forged the 3 keys in a row, just boom, 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 kind of the flow of the game. So yeah, we were just trading blows in the beginning. He was keeping me off keys, I was keeping him off keys, and then eventually I won the too much to protect war.
Yeah, that play where he subtle mauled the Witch of the Eye was it seemed brutal, but it really didn't matter because you had mimicry and speed sigil was out. So if he hit either one, you were still gonna be able to play the too much and get back all that amber.
Yeah, that's right. I really would have loved to have that Witch of the Eye. It would have made things a lot more easy, but yeah, just the mimicry was all you really needed.
And it was funny. I was actually hoping to hit your mimicry because I was like, man, there was a turn before where you let me go up, or you went up quite a bit, and I was like, I was looking at my TMPT and the doorstep, and I was like, I can get a ton off of this, but you wouldn't go that high, and you were like way more than halfway through your deck, and I was like, chances are not looking good if I go this way. So let me see if I can't squeak out some more. And so I used my second doorstep. And I had to make sure that I used my first one. I was like, do I even have another one just in case? Turns out I used them both. And this last one, when you went up quite a bit, I was like, well, I have to do it. And for some odd reason, if you don't have it, maybe I can make you discard it. So I hit the subtle maul. Yeah, you dropped a witch. I was like, well, that's one of the threats that you would have just gotten mimicry right back. So I was locked out either way, and then I just had to play through it because there's not much else you can do.
Yeah, I kind of had it either way, right? If you got the
That's
mimicry,
right.
I had the Witch of the Eye. If I had
That's
you got
right.
the Witch of the Eye, I had the mimicry. So you kind of a
That's
catch
right.
22.
Well,
Yeah.
interestingly, I actually noticed that what was cool about this game was I didn't even get to see some of the cards that I generally think are pretty powerful in that deck, like the Dance of Doom, which is something that I was actually trying to be mindful of because there was a time when I would have had a 6-power creature on the board, and I think you had 4s and 5s, and I wanted to make sure you made the decision between a 4 and a 5 or a 3 creature, so we would at least have equal exchanges. I figured, all right, at least let's try to render as many cards dead as possible, and that didn't even show up, which is kind of a testament to say, like, there's a lot of janking around that can happen in this deck that still allows some really powerful plays, and by the time I got a board set up, it didn't even really matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and you absolutely like called my play entirely. Watching out for the mimicry, I was just really waiting for it. So yeah, really, really intuitive from you to see that.
Well played on your side too. Thanks for the games, and I think looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good games all around. Well played by everybody.
Those were good. I gotta say the beginning of this second game was really great to watch. Just the back and forth. I think between the two of you played like 4 or 5 turns straight where it was 4+ cards from the hand every single turn. So just the punches that were thrown early were really fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of like just the flow of the game. I really felt like whoever forged the first key would be in such a good position, and I knew I know this deck pretty well, so I knew I had to work through the too much to protect and the two doorsteps. I'm sure you guys saw I really wasn't killing that old Bruno for a long time. Just there's really no point in me killing the old Bruno, right? I'll get 3 more amber, sure, but it'll be gone to doorstep or it'll be his to too much to protect. So if you just let the Bruno live until you forge, and then you can go right back up to checking, that's exactly where you want to be. You want to threaten check at like 6 or 7 every turn against this deck, and it really struggles to deal with that.
Yeah, and Logan, you played that brilliantly. That was something that we, or at least I, kept pointing out was, oh, he's got this amber that he can get off the old Bruno. If he does, though, that plays into too much to protect. How is that gonna look? And you I mean, to your point, you just kept going to check, and while your deck has a lot of the big answers, the doorsteps and the too much to protect, it doesn't have as many ways to consistently take you down 1 or 2.
Yeah, not without the pile skulls on the board.
Yeah, actually, thank you for bringing that up, Alex. That is a really big point. That Cav did not have Pile of Skulls in play, and if he did, this game would have gone entirely different.
Yeah, and actually, Pile of Skulls is in my hand now. I have a 3/3 hand. It's Loot the Bodies, Troll, Pile of Skulls, Umbra, Shadow Self, Nexus, and these are 2 sets of 3 cards that I would have loved to have seen maybe about half a game ago, just so I could have put some amber pressure on you or some amber control on you. And it was, I had the war chest out, which was great for a bursty turn, but when you're already trying to play around the too much to protect mimicry thing, I'm like, well, the war chest really doesn't do anything for me. So a lot of shadows turns, I was trying to focus on maximizing my shadows turns just so I could get you to subtle maul something. And, I had some pretty decent hits, but, you just have to play for your out sometimes. And I tried to at least focus on that as much as I could once the game spun wildly out of my control.
Kevin, to your point, the Pile of Skulls is pretty much on the bottom of the deck. It's tough when you're relying on a card like that. I think it really highlights building a deck around a strategy that relies on a single card. Not that this deck really does that usually, but certainly Aesa in this matchup could really use that card, and you can see the disparity between having it at the top of the deck and the bottom of the deck between the 2 games that we just saw.
Yeah, and I actually wonder if now that since there is no game 3, knowing that the variance of when you get these cards pretty important, like, do you get your 5 amber burst really early, like in the turn 1 play, or do you get it later? And that kind of influences like how much I think two decks are worth in the bidding side of things, right? I don't know about you, Logan, but I think I have a bid in mind, and I don't think it's nearly as high as maybe some other matches.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. I couldn't even tell you where I would go, but I don't think I would go anywhere beyond 4 chains. Like
Oh
it's,
yeah,
they're
I would
so
even
close.
say 1 or 2 is just close enough.
Right.
Well, let me ask, which deck would you even be bidding for?
Well,
You saw
since
each one win one.
yeah, if Asa won, you'd have to say, okay, if Asa won 2, what would we do? We would be bidding for Asa, and I don't even know if it's better, right? So 1 or 2 chains to be realistic.
That's right. Yeah, bidding on Asa, I think, right, more than 2 chains, I feel like gives Visconti way too much of the lead. Now, let's say I had won game 1, and I'm not sure if you heard this, Logan, but I had made a pretty serious error in game 1 where I was hopefully, I could have maybe had forward. Well, actually, it would have given me exactly the right amber to forward with the key. And it was a misclick on my side where as soon as it happened, I would have to say, all right, what's plan B? Because plan A already went down the drain. And it was that close of a match where I feel like even if Visconti won both of them, even adding 2 more chains, I think would have been just as bad as putting 2 chains on Asa. Because at least in our match, I ended up mimicking Coward's End, and then played a Save the Pack, which is 4 chains right there, and it just barely squeaked out, right? Or squeaked out the loss. So
Right.
1 or 2 extra change, I don't even know how stable it would be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, towards the end of the game, I remember you cowards ended, right? And it was
right.
bad. It was definitely, I think it was definitely a good play. But to see you have 3 chains towards the end, I'm like, this is
Yeah.
good. This is really, really good. Because
Right.
he's not drawing to his outs, right? So
That's right. Cool, guys. Well, thank
All
you
right.
for having the game, Logan, and catch you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks for hopping
Yeah,
on. Good
all right.
games to everybody.
Thanks, guys.